I want to thank Derek and his family for doing a really good job of taking care of Steve over spring break. And then with all this crazy stuff, having him for a few extra days. So I feel like we should give Derek a cheer. You guys want to do that with me? Are you ready? Woo, woo, woo! Give him the roller coaster cheer for doing such a good job. Okay, in honor of Steve returning, I have a story called HooWay For Wodney Wat. I wonder, it's very normal for kids your age and younger to have a hard time saying their R's. Have you ever had a hard time saying your R's? It's pretty common. Or just sometimes our skills are we might be really good at reading, or we might be really good at math, or we might be really good at singing or dancing or speaking. We all have special talents. Sometimes speaking is tricky for some people, and it's something that we all have to work on. Well, I want to tell you the story of Wodney Wat. HooWay For Wodney Wat by Helen Lester and illustrated by Lynn Mussinger. I'm going to move so you can see this better. Okay. To my son and hero, Jamie. I wonder why he's her hero. He's her hero? Yes. I wonder if he had a hard time saying his R's and had to learn how to do that and practice and practice. I want to show you this picture. Poor Wodney Wat. His real name was Rodney Rat, but he couldn't pronounce his R's. To make matters worse, he was a rodent. A wodent. Who else is a rodent? Who is our special guest today? Steve, our class pet. What's your name, Wodney? Asked the other rodents. Wodney Wat, whispered Wodney. What's another name for bunny? They asked knowingly. Wabbit, he mumbled. Are they being very nice to him? I know none of you would do that to someone who had a hard time speaking. Would we make him say words that were hard to say? It makes my heart a little sad. How about you? And how does a train travel? They winked at each other. A twain travels on twain twacks, Wodney replied miserably. All of this teasing, day in and day out, made Wodney the shyest rodent in his elementary school. His squeak could barely be heard in class. He gnawed lunch alone. We don't do that, do we? We make sure everyone has a friend at lunch. And while the other rodents scurried and scooted about at recess, Wodney hid inside his jacket. Are there things sometimes that make you want to hide inside your jacket? Me too. Then one day, as the rodents were taking turns doing wheelies, a new rodent, a very large rodent, barged into the classroom and announced, "My name is Camilla Capybara." Oh, look at Camilla. Look, they're doing wheelies. They're running on a wheel. Now, Steve doesn't run on a wheel. Actually, wheelies are for rats, mice, hamsters, but it's actually not good for a guinea pig's back. I'm bigger than any of you. I'm meaner than any of you. And I'm smarter than any of you, she added. So there. Have you ever met someone who has a very strong personality like this? Who kind of makes you feel a little nervous to be around? Let's learn more about Camilla. With that, she accidentally, on purpose, elbowed an ear, bumped 2 noses, stepped on 3 tails, and lay down on a desk. Fur prickled in fear through the classroom. She sure was bigger than any of them. She sure looked meaner than any of them. Was she smarter than any of them? Let's see. I'll show you the picture up close. What does it look like she's doing right there? It looks like maybe she's shouting out. What's 2 plus 2? Asked Miss Fuzzleworth. 4! Shouted Camilla Capybara without even bothering to raise her paw. And furthermore, 4 plus 4 is 8, 8 plus 8 is 16, and 243 plus 125 is 368. Later, when Miss Fuzzleworth asked, what's the capital of? Camilla interrupted, New York, Albany, population 295,594. And during science, in answer to the question, what part of a plant is below the ground? Camilla Capybara danced on her desk and sang, root, root, rooty toot toot. Yep, thought all the other rodents. She's smarter than we are too. They felt very, very uncomfortable. Every afternoon, just before the final recess, Miss Fuzzleworth drew a name from her hat to see who would be the leader for their favorite game, Simon Says. I love Simon Says. It's so fun. She scrunched her eyes closed and jiggled the hat. Would it be Hairy Hamster, Minnie Feet Mouse, Grizzle Frizz Guinea Pig? Could it be Big, Mean, Smart Camilla Capybara? Miss Fuzzleworth's paw reached in and pulled out the name of Wodney Wat. The bell rang. There was a wild scurry for the door, and Camilla Capybara was the first on the playground, having trampled others in her path. Look, here she is. She ran over everybody. Sometimes is that like what it's like lining up for recess? No, never. We're always careful and polite, huh? To Wodney, she looked especially scary. Oh, look at her. And little Wodney. What would she do when she heard him speak? Breathe, Capybara, breath in his face. Or tie him up in his own tail. Or even pounce on him. Do you see him under there? Steve's listening to the story. He's eating his hay. Do you like this story, Steve? He nodded yes. Okay, the tiny, trembling leader of the game stood before the eager players, his head well inside his jacket, and squeaked, Wodney says read the sign, while the other rodents read, P.S. 142 Elementary School, for rodents. Camilla began pulling up weeds around the sign and wildly flinging them hither and thither, and till she was clear up to her teeth in dirt. The other rodents began to smile. Why did she weed the sign instead of read the sign? Wodney says, "Wrap your paws around your head." He peeked a little peek out of his jacket and saw whap, whap, whappity, slappity, whap. Camilla was whapping her paws around her head so hard she became dizzy. She gave herself a headache and had to sit down. The other rodents could not stop giggling. Look at what they're doing. Wodney says, "Play wing around the wosy." Camilla put her arms like wings and made an airplane noise. Brrr. But where was Wosie? What was a Wosie? What is it really? Ring around the rosy. By now, Wodney's voice was stronger, and his head was entirely out of his jacket. "Wake the leaves!" Nobody moved. Wodney says, "Wake the leaves." What's he really saying? What are they doing? Rake the leaves. What does Camilla do? While Harry, Minifeet, and Grizzlefrizz and the others busied themselves raking, Camilla Capybara grabbed one leaf. "Wake up!" she yelled. She's trying to wake the leaves. Look at her. She snatched another. "Come on, you! Up, up, up!" And another, "Rise and shine!" And another, "Boo!" By now, all the other rodents were squealing with laughter, all but Camilla, who frowned. "Silly leaves! They won't wake up. And why was everyone laughing at her? Such bullies!" She learning a little bit about how maybe she treated others. She's getting a little sample of what it feels like. In a voice so strong he had to hold his own ears, Wodney called, "Wodney says go west." What's he really saying? Is he saying go west? Or is he saying rest? The rodents collapsed in a happy heap for a rest. Go west. Camilla Capybara, feeling very smart that she could tell directions by the sun, said, "All right, I shall go west." And west she stomped forever. She was gone. And from that day on, the pupils of PS 142 Elementary School for Rodents never teased Wodney again. He was their hero. "HooWay for Wodney Wat!" they cried. "Woot, woot, wooty toot toot!" The end. I hope you liked that. I hope you liked that story today. Now, I have another little thing for you. Guess what I was able to go get? I thought you might like this. The one and only Ivan. Let's think. Who are our characters in the one and only Ivan? Can you think of them? We have Ivan, who is the one and only, what? Silverback. We have Stella, who got sick, right? And what do we have? Baby Ruby. And we're wondering what is happening to baby Ruby. And remember that they are trying to train baby Ruby and it's not going so well. So let's find out what happens next. Okay. Let's see. Poor Mac. Mac groans. He stumbles to his feet and hobbles off toward his office. Ruby watches him leave. I can't read her expression. Is she afraid, relieved, proud? When Mac is gone, George and Julia lead Ruby from the ring. It's okay, baby. It's okay, Julia says, stroking Ruby's head. They settle Ruby in her domain and make sure she has fresh water and food. Before long, Ruby's dozing. Dad, Julia asks as George locks Ruby's iron door. Do you think Mac would ever hurt Ruby? Remember, Mac is the owner of the mall and the circus inside the mall. I don't think so, Jules, George says. At least I hope not. Remember, Jules is the daughter of George who cleans the mall. Maybe we could call someone. George scratches his chin. I wish I could help Ruby, but I wouldn't know how. I mean, who would I call? The elephant cops? Besides, George looks down. I need this job, Jules. We need this job. Your mom, the doctor bills. He kisses the top of Julia's head. Back to work, you and me both. Julia sighs and reaches for her backpack. She removes a piece of paper, a bottle of water, and a small metal box. Homework first, George says, wagging a finger. Then you can paint. It's for art class, Julia explains. We're doing watercolors. I'm going to paint Ruby. George smiles. All right, then. Just don't forget your spelling. Dad, Julia asks again, did you see Mac's face when Ruby hit him? George nods. Yes, he says solemnly, I did. He shakes his head. Poor Mac. He turns away, and only then do I hear him laughing. Okay, I want to say that this is a beautiful book by Applegate is the last name. What's her first name? Katherine Applegate, the one and only Ivan. Now, I'm going to stop there. I'm just going to read you one little chapter a day after I read you our picture book. And today, what I have for you, fun, which I'm going to link. Now, you guys know a link. Remember when we had to take the test and we went through those steps, the computer test, and we logged in, and then we got to the page, and then there was that blue file. Remember the blue file? And then you had to, on there was a link. Do you remember the link? And you had to actually get your arrow right on the link, and you had to double click it. I am going to put a link at the bottom of this video. So you see this video, go below it. I'm going to link the San Diego Zoo. Has some fun things you can learn about animals. And if it's okay with your mom and dad, you need to ask their permission and help first before you go to any websites on the internet. Okay? But I'm going to put a link to the San Diego Zoo that might be fun if you want to explore some of the animals at the zoo. I hope you're having a good day, and I will see you tomorrow. Happy Thursday!